Hi, this is Jundo. Welcome to Tree Leaf. I'd like to talk today about a couple of rather difficult lines in the passage of Master Dogen's Bendowa we looked at yesterday. And it's this section that seems to make a distinction between Buddhas and living beings. Can you hear that behind me? That's the tofu seller going around the neighborhood selling tofu. Just ordinary beings and Buddhas. Is there a difference? Well, I don't think it should be read that way. I think that, in fact, Master Dogen's point here is that the difference between Buddhas and living beings who are ordinary is the way we live and how we perceive life, how we perceive our own thoughts. I think that's the point here. Let's look at Uchiyama, how Buddhas live. Buddhas continuously dwell in and maintain this Dharma, yet no trace of conceptualization remains. While living beings, ordinary people, constantly function in and use this Dharma, yet it does not appear in their perception. Now this is hard to understand, but I'm going to tell you how I interpret it. Buddhas do know a state in which we've completely dropped off all mental, shall we say, workings. But when they're in this world too, their mind works, just like all our minds works. They have to make choices. They have to make judgments. The Buddha, when he discovered enlightenment, did not decide just to sit there under his Bodhi tree. He chose to get up. He started making choices. I want to go to this town and teach. I don't want to go over there. I want to teach this lesson. I don't want to teach that lesson. So his mind was working too, with judgments, with likes and dislikes. But what separated him from ordinary folks? I believe it's that his mind leaves no traces. The images of a bird or a flock of birds that fly through the sky, that's your thoughts, flying through the wide, open, blue sky without resistance. And as the thoughts pass, as the birds pass through the sky, they leave no resistance. They go without hindrance. It's open, it's free. As this said, when you open your hands, it is without boundaries, you see. When you open your mouth, it's without restriction in any direction, like the open sky, this great freedom. But ordinary people think and get trapped in their thoughts and filled with resistance. So, for example, even though they are living in this very same open, free, still and silent sky, they do not realize it. What is the difference? Well, let me tell you the difference for me between the way a Buddha perceives thoughts and the way an ordinary being perceives thoughts, and you can get to see my point. Let's say you start to feel resistance about something in life and frustration, and you start to take that frustration as real, and you start to think that, gee, your life really is frustrating, and it gets bigger and more magnified. A Buddha, on the other hand, might know how to let that go, drop the frustration. If he was feeling negative emotions, be able to see through them. Let's say anger started to come up, resentment. A real person might say, I'm really angry, that situation stinks. A Buddha might say, right now I feel the emotion of anger rising up. This is just my brain creating this. This is just my brain and conditions squeezing a bit of anger juice in this moment, a bit of theater It's not necessarily real. A Buddha can see through this. A Buddha doesn't take it so seriously. A Buddha doesn't get trapped by it all, you see. Suppose you have something, a worry for the future, and it gets bigger and larger and magnified, and your mind is going around and round in circles with all these worst case scenarios. A Buddha might say, I see this fear. I'll let it be. He knows how to blow it off again into emptiness. He's not trapped. He can see the clear blue open sky, not only the clouds of thought that wander through it. My teacher's translation here says, when Buddhas are constantly dwelling in and maintaining this state of freedom, this state without limitation, they do not leave recognitions and perceptions in separate aspects, which I believe means they don't chop up the world into bits and pieces with their judgments and likes and dislikes and resistance. They keep it as the totality, you see. But when living beings are living in this very same state, it comes to them all divided and broken up with likes and dislikes and resistance. And that's the difference between how Buddhas, who are ordinary beings, live in the world, and ordinary beings who are not Buddhas. Or, I should say, they are Buddhas but don't realize it, live in the world. When the thoughts come in your mind, see them today. Whatever emotions and thoughts come in your mind today, try to see them today as just a bit of mental theater. Don't take them so seriously. Shall we sit with that?